nothing is worth ending it all, at all, ever. It is all temporary in this life.
And we're rolling. What's up, Kenny?
Not a whole lot, Josh. How you doing, buddy?
All right, thanks for being here, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Let's just start off. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us your name, branch of service you served with, the years you served, and what you did.
All right, I'm Kenny Evans. I served 10 years in active Army from 2003 to 2013. Was a tank mechanic and got out as a sergeant. Did 3 combat tours, excuse me, 2 to Iraq and 1 to Afghanistan.
Right on, man. We'll get to those, but let's start. Why don't you talk to me a little bit about where you're from, where you were born and where you were raised, how your upbringing was.
Oh, right on, man. Born and raised Columbus, Ohio. Not the greatest part of the city, It was rough. Not gonna sugarcoat it, but my mom wanted us to have a better life than she did, so she stressed that we do better at everything, whether it was school or a job or anything. I was really into sports, and when I didn't get a scholarship to go to college through wrestling, I knew that I couldn't afford to pay for it. And this is like right after 9/11 had kicked off. I would love to say that I joined after some patriotic duty or something like that, but I'd be lying to say that. I joined the military to get out of my situation. And when I told my dad that I was joining the military, he said, "Don't be like me, do something besides being infantry because you can't kill people forever." I mean, he pushed a crane up and down a catwalk for 30 years. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that, it put food on the table, but he hated it, but he did it because it provided for our family, and
Right.
And now I do what I do, like I work with my hands, I learned how to fix things in the Army, and I try to impart that onto my son. Like, there's nothing wrong with what I do, but I want you to do something better.
Right.
Use your brain and not your back, trying to break those generational curses, as everybody likes to say.
Right. Do you have any siblings?
I have all the siblings. I've got 9 sisters and 2 brothers.
Wow, where do you fall in the mix of that?
Right in the middle.
Really?
I get lost in the mix.
9 brothers and 2 sisters.
No. 9 sisters, 2 brothers.
Oh, 9 sisters and 2.
I didn't know that you could pee standing up until I moved out of my parents' house. That's a joke, man.
Man, what was it like growing up with 9 sisters? And, wow.
Different. I mean, it wasn't like all of it. Like, my family is like the Brady Bunch, like they were there in stages. The most that of the kids that were all there at one time were maybe 6, and still, just with a lot of estrogen in the house. I do remember there was one time I come home from wrestling practice, and my dad's just sitting outside, and he's just like, "Don't go in the house." And I'm like, "I'm tired, I'm hungry, I'm going inside. It's cold, what are you doing?" And I go in there, and my mom and like 2 of my sisters are just sitting there on the couch in sweatpants eating ice cream and watching Lifetime. And I was just like, "Oh God." And I turn around and book it outside, and he was like, "Yep, I was waiting on you, let's go." We book it, we take off, but it was always entertaining at the Evans household. It was always something.
Wow, man. So I know you mentioned that you got into the military to get out of the situation you were in. Is there anything else that inspired you to go into the service? Like, what made you choose to do military?
My best friend going to jail because we were selling drugs. My dad was a hard ass. He ruled with an iron fist, and I was messing up in school, and I was supposed to go out with my would say best friend now, but we've gone down different paths. So a guy that I know, I was supposed to go out with him, and I didn't go because I got in trouble, and my dad was like, "No, you're not leaving the house." And he got caught on camera selling drugs, and I just was like, maybe I need to do something else, because looking back on it, if I didn't make that decision, every person that I knew back then, every person that I hung out with from the neighborhood, they've all got felony charges, and they are stagnant and going nowhere in life. And it would not have been good for me. Like, I would probably be locked up or dead, Just not a good thing.
Did you ever get in trouble with the law doing that?
I never had the police come to my parents' home.
Yeah. Did you get to pick your job?
Yeah. They say picked, but I was kind of guided in that direction. They got me. They played this video from like the 80s, and it comes in with the cheesiest like music intro. It's like, and then this guy sounds like Walter Cronkite. He's like, "As an M1A1 systems maintainer, your job would be," and you got this guy running around with this toolbox and all this other stuff. Seems all this super cool technical stuff. Not even it. They got me with the video though. They had me hook, line, and sinker. I was sitting there all bright-eyed. I was like, "Oh, that's so cool. I want to do that."
Yeah. Where did you go from after basic training?
After we got done at Knox, I went to Fort Hood, and I went to Hood, and it was a whole new world. I quickly realized that being in the military is a lot like being in college, except you don't get to sleep in during the week after partying all night. You still got to get up and go and do PT and all that stuff. What I seen, what was the meme? We were the most fittest alcoholics out there, But and we're out there, go out there, and Fort Hood was great. I loved it. There was a lot of good memories there. I made a lot of lifelong friends there. I still talk to some of the people today from there. A buddy of mine, call him Ramrod. He's out there in Houston. I met him out there. He was actually I was in Bravo 181 at Knox. He was in Echo 181, and when we linked up at Hood, he was older than me, and he sort of kind of adopted me as a brother. Like, he'd make sure I actually ate. I didn't have to eat that crazy defect food. He used to call me up in the morning because him and his wife only had the one vehicle and they had kids. He'd call me like 4:45 in the morning, phone goes off. I'm like, "Hey, what's up, Rod? Evans, come get me for PT? Yeah, bro. Is Terry gonna make breakfast? Yeah, hold on a second. Teresa! And just like, "Yo, man, you have to wake her up, dude." It's, no, it's fine. It's like, yeah, the good times, Hood was great,
Yeah. What were you doing there in Fort Hood?
Well, when I first got there, went to 110 Cav, which at the time was Div Cav, and like, I learned a lot about what it means to actually be a soldier. Like, you know, you get your basic skill set, and that's what it is. It is a basic skill set, the bare minimum, like in basic training. But the more finer things, like when you start getting polished, is when you actually get to what Marines always say, when you get to the fleet, you know,
Yeah.
that's when you actually start to learn, like, you know, you start to get well-rounded out. Happy birthday, Josh.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's Marine Corps birthday today.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
All right, yeah, you get polished out, you get shaped into that sort of soldier you want to be. And I've seen a lot of turds, and seen a lot of studs, you know. But I was there fixing tanks when I first got there, because they had all just got back from Iraq. So I went to 110 Cav, and they sent me to go work in the reset program. So I got to get a very in-depth technical jump on a lot of my counterparts when it came to fixing tanks. I was pulling turrets. I was doing complete tear down and rebuilds of engines and transmissions. We were doing a lot. We were doing a whole lot, you know, and it was fun. It was fun. Great experiences there.
Now, you joined in 2003
Yeah.
after 9/11. Did you anticipate that you might find yourself in a combat environment?
I knew I was going.
Yeah.
I knew it. I'm a realist. If you join the military in a time when your nation is at war, you not only should have the idea that you're going to war, you need to accept and prepare yourself to go. You know, it'd be like walking in the water and, you know, being surprised that you got wet, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I have a whole, you know, mad respect for the guys and gals that joined after 9/11. You know, I signed up in 98, delayed entry program, went in 99 to get out of my situation. And, you know, but, you know, at that time there's no real war going on. I didn't expect to find myself in a combat environment. It's different, I feel like, you know, knowing that your country's at war, signing up, knowing that you're going to find yourself in that situation. So, got a lot of respect for that, man.
Right on, man.
So when did you end up taking that first tour?
I believe November 2005. Yeah.
What was that like for you?
Crazy. It was it wasn't leading up to the first deployment. I had my battle buddy Wesley Waite. He was my battle buddy all through OSET. Like, I slept on the bottom bunk, he slept on the top. He's my roommate when we got to Fort Hood. We were on the same team. Dude would, you know, my right-hand man. He's my guy. We went to NTC, which is it's the 29 Palms for you Marine guys. You know, you guys are out at Needles, NTC's out in Barstow.
Yeah.
We get back from NTC, and we were doing services on tanks, and he had slipped and fell, you know, and he slipped and fell and shook it off. Everything was all good. Well, a few days later, you know, I was out there, I was using his phone, you know, because Joe's don't know how to save money. You know, he had a phone, I didn't, because, you know, I was stupid. You know, and I was talking to my mom, and and turn around, and he's on the floor convulsing. And this is like a month before we're supposed to leave. And I freeze. I have no clue what to do. Like, I am like a deer in headlights. Like, my feet are stuck. I can't move. I can't do nothing. The guy who lived next to us, Sully, the medic, he rushed in, boom, took care of him. That fall that happened a few days before ended up being a blood clot. Dude was having a stroke, and I didn't know what to do. And it started to, it affected me, because like I started to, like, it shook me bad, because I couldn't affect, like, I didn't know, like, if this happens in a combat zone, I freeze, like, what then? I can't do this stateside when bullets aren't flying, you know? What then? And it messed me up. It messed me up bad, you know? And I started messing up at work and all this other stuff. Luckily, like, I had good leadership. Like, they seen it, they recognized it, and they got me help. Like, they actually got a hold of the chaplain. The chaplain took me to the recovery hospital where he was at. He got medically separated because of it, you know? And I seen that he was okay and he's doing fine, you know, and that kind of helped me, you know, get over it. But their first deployment, it was rough. It was rough for me because one of my best friends didn't come with me, and I had also lost one of my best friends on that deployment, you know, and there were a lot of things that happened on that first deployment that are that people may have to answer for, like, you know, when they meet their maker, whoever they choose to call a God. But I mean, this is when Iraq was still the wild, wild west, you know, and it was different, you know.
If you don't mind me asking, how did you lose your other friend out there?
Sergeant Adam Law Knox of Columbus, Ohio. He doing he's a PSYOPs guy. He's doing a Hearts and Minds mission, you know, and he was in a gun truck, and he took one in the face.
You guys on a convoy or something?
Hearts and Minds, PSYOPs, chilling out, pamphlets and stuff.
Oh, is that like a humanitarian mission, or?
Yeah. Let's just leave that one right there.
Yeah. How long was your first tour?
12 and some change, 12 months and some change, roughly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys did during that first tour you want to talk about?
Well, 3 days before we were supposed to fly out, they wanted us to go and set up a checkpoint for the incoming unit, and my NCO at the time was just like, I don't think our 88's going to make it, because I was adding 5 gallons of oil a day to this beast, a day. It had 3 blown juds in succession. If you ran it, didn't matter if you ran it for an hour or all day, it needed 5 gallons of oil after that. And I said, no, it'll be fine. I'll just baby it. And he goes, nah, man, I don't think it's going to make it to the fuel point. So I'm not saying we did. I'm not saying that we didn't. But the 88 did not make it to the fuel point, so we did not have to go set up a checkpoint and kind of pass the buck to somebody else.
What was your unit's mission while you were out there? What was your guys' primary duty?
Don't know, man.
No, you, I ain't mad at you, man, because that's a lot of the times I had no clue what we were doing out there. Anyways, some of the places you ask where we were, I don't even remember, like the cities and all that stuff. But when you got back from that deployment, you know, did that change you at all? Did you feel like you're a different person after serving 12 months in a combat zone?
Yeah, a little bit, you know, a little bit, initially, you know, you get the, everybody does it. And if they say that they didn't, I call bullshit. Like, they come back from combat, they're like, oh, I'm a badass. No, you're not, bro.
Right.
No. Especially with a lot of the guys, like, you know, they went, like, they would go there, and I seen it. A guy would sit there and try to jump on somebody, like, you know, I've been to combat, and I'd look at him, I was like, I deployed with you. I know exactly what you did. You sat there and played World of Warcraft for 12 months. Go away. Okay? It changed. I've seen that true evil does exist in this world. Throughout all the deployments, I've seen that. It made me appreciate what I have, you know, as an American, you know, and it made me want to continue to serve, because those freedoms that, you know, a lot of us take for granted, you know, they need to be protected. They have to. Like, they have to be protected, you know. And if not by me, then who?
Yeah.
You know.
What types of things did you you know, experience out there that made you appreciate everything you had back in the States?
Dysentery. We had a bad water shipment, so for about a week it was coming out of both ends, bro.
Oh,
So clean water.
yeah.
Just the simple joys of, like, you know, being able to have having a door or a window, not just a hole in a wall to let light in, you know. I mean, actual roads that are paved, you know, a store, you know, just simple things like first world problems. First world problems is a real thing. When you see things over there and then you come back, you're like, you know what? It's not so bad. I've been through worse.
Yeah.
This is okay. I can do this. This is easy. I've been through worse. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I feel you, man. I used to pray that, you know, just let me get back home, and I don't care if I'm homeless for the rest of my time. I'm in the United States. I'll be happy just to get back in the States. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
After seeing all that. So how long did you stay? You said you did another tour, right? You did a total of how many?
3.
What was Afghanistan like for you?
Cold. We left we left Hunter in February, and we landed in Manas, Kyrgyzstan. I think that's how you say it. And when we landed, we got off the plane. It was so cold, it hurt to breathe. Like, it hurt my lungs. Like, the air inside was literally freezing my insides. And we we had one of those first sergeants that was a snivel gear Nazi. Like, he said, you know, take those jackets off. You don't need that hat, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, it's cold, you know? Why issue it if I can't wear it?
Right.
Don't be so cruel, you know? Like, I was like, please, sir, can I have some one? God, it's so cold, man.
How long did you stay in Afghanistan?
About 9.5 months.
9 months.
Yeah.
Wow. Spent a lot of time overseas.
Yeah, man.
You have any like close calls with any like enemy combatants out there? Any scary situations you found yourself in?
Afghanistan?
Yeah.
Afghanistan, we were there doing, the reason why the ramp up, like, was such a short window, like, we were doing, we're doing village stability operations. We were attached to JSOC units, and they were training, training like local military and militia and stuff to try to fight off like the Taliban and all that other stuff. So during the first like half of that deployment, we're in the Helmand province, and this is like during this, it's like between February and let's say May, so like right before fighting season. So because they're out of money because there's no opium being sold, you know. So February, May in Helmand, we're right down the river, nothing going on. When we leave, Helmand took off, and then they moved us to Quadrigar. And when we were up there, all we did was train the local police. That's all we did. We got there, they picked a spot out in the middle of nowhere, parked 4 vehicles in a circle, and then trucks slowly started bringing stuff in, and Hescos went up, filled with dirt, and then we started building. We built a site. And then when we left, we gave it to the local police chief, and as we were leaving, he arrested the provisional governor.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And he arrested the merchant who was feeding the troops that were training. So the corruption was there then.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long after that, your third tour, did you stay in the Army?
6 months.
Oh, so you got out 6 months after you
I
got back?
extended to go to Afghanistan. I remember first sergeant comes up to me and he says, Sergeant Evans, you got to go see retention. I said, why? He says, well, your ETS date is right after we get back from Afghanistan. I said, yeah. He goes, well, you got to have so much time before you return, you make sure that, you know, you reintegrate. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't need that. And he goes, if you don't go extend, you don't go on leave. So I was like, so you're telling me I have a choice? Like, I have a choice whether or not to go? Because I never had the choice before. It was weird. It was like, I have a choice in the military? Interesting. You know, but I went anyway. I went and signed my extension paperwork, and 'cause I didn't want to not be in that fight with my guys.
Yeah.
I couldn't. It's not that I didn't think that they wouldn't make it. I just knew, like, if something were to happen and I weren't there, that I don't think I'd be able to forgive myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I've heard it from, actually, there's been plenty of people I've interviewed already that, you know, got out and their units ended up going to combat, and, you know, they ended up losing some friends, and, they feel, you know, it's a common theme, man. It weighs hard on people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. Is there any specific reasons why you chose to get out of the Army?
It got to a point that I started to see a shift from how it was when I came in to how it was going. And then I just started to not be happy anymore. And then, you know, I didn't like it. And I was contemplating, like, okay, maybe a change of scenery might do it. Maybe sell a house and go back to Hood, or, you know, maybe Kansas, or I don't know. Maybe I'll go to Benning and be an instructor, you know, because if I'd have re-enlisted, I would have gone knees of the Army. I would have had to go to Korea, because, you know, they always need tank mechanics in Korea for some reason. I had to go drill sergeant, recruiter, or instructor. That's what I had. I didn't want to go to Korea. And I just sat there and I was like, I don't know. And there was a contractor that came out there to service some equipment. You know, it was a 120 millimeter automated like mortar. Legit, punching a grid, it would right there. It was, yeah.
Crazy technology,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. And we were talking, and he just said, dude, just let me see your resume. And I showed it to him, and he's like, here, go to this website. Your resume, I bet you'll have 10 job offers. If not, I'll give you $10. I don't have $10 to give you, bro, and I don't gamble. He goes, all right, gentleman's bet. We'll shake on it. Cool. Go put on there. I had like 25 job offers. I was like, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
What was it like for you transitioning back into the civilian world?
Oh, it's a dumpster fire, bro. A train wreck, man.
Did you struggle with anything?
Absolutely.
Yeah, what types of things?
Everything. Remember those jobs that I told you that I had?
Yeah.
Well, what happened in 2013? The sequester. My job that I had that was going to pay me $250,000 a year was in that 10% that got cut. So I find myself with one paycheck left that I'm going to get from the military. One. And the savings we had, we spent to have an amazing Christmas to have with our family and all that other stuff. I put all my eggs in that basket. And the bottom fell out. That's my fault. I did that. I learned a lesson from it. Never happened again. And it just, I didn't really know what to do. So I said, okay, job prospects weren't looking too good. You know, I found out that, you know, support the troops and thank you for your service are catchy taglines and slogans because a lot of people, that's what they use them for. They are marketing ploys because no one cared about anything I did in the military. What they wanted to see was a piece of paper. So I said, okay, I'm going to go on unemployment and I'm going to go back to school. And that's what I did. And my wife at the time, she went back to work. And I found out that I don't like school, and I am not a good house husband. And yeah. So that happened, and then all the issues that I never addressed came up, and a lot of other things happened that I'm not going to elaborate on, and I hit a very, very, very low point in my life. And had it not been for some good people, I may have stayed there, you know, because they refused to let me lay down and die. They picked me up and drugged me until I said, fine, I will walk. Yeah.
Good for them.
Great for them.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, man.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you've, you know, I've had more than a handful of close friends take their lives since, you know, being back and stuff. So, yeah, I understand what being down in the dumps like that could do. It's seems like I get a phone call every year, every couple of years, you know, from somebody talking about, hey, so and so. Do you ever experience any of that, man? Anybody that you served with, or I know you talked to me a little bit before this interview. You were doing something with like suicidal prevention stuff, right?
Yeah. About 3 weeks after I got out, I was on Facebook and I see like stuff from a friend of mine, Staff Sergeant Anthony Moore, you know, talking about, we miss you, why'd you do this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking, I'm like, wait a minute, I just talked to this guy a few days ago. And nothing. And I'm like, I'm calling. There's nothing. So I called his boss, you know, and I'm like, hey, when's the last time you've had proof of life from Sergeant Moore? And he goes, what? I think he's dead. No. Yeah. You not put anything out? Well, Sergeant Vickers, technically I'm not in the Army, so I could tell you to, you know, stick that wherever. But I'll do it as a favor. But you need to figure this out, because this ain't right. And he took his own life. Another guy I served with, Sergeant Jason Branch, he took his own life in a Walmart parking lot. You know, another guy I served with, Sergeant Jamie Ehrenstein, you know, took his own life. Another guy I served with, Sergeant First Class Bobby Barrios, took his own life. Another guy I served with attempted to take his life. It was unsuccessful, thank God. And I've lost a lot of them to it. And they all hurt the same, you know. And it never gets easier. You know, especially when, you know, it hits them frequently, you know, especially around the holidays. You really have to check your friends. You have to check on them, not just on the 22nd where it's like, oh, buddy, 20, buddy, check on the 22nd. No, just call them, you know. I know we all have lives, but reach out to your friends.
Yeah. You know, what would you recommend somebody in that, you know, feeling down like that, a veteran, you know, that's just, I mean, you've been in that place, right? You've been in rock bottom.
Absolutely.
You know, what do you recommend? Because, you know, I mean, you know, when you're feeling like that, you don't feel like talking to nobody really, right? Like, I mean, even if somebody's checking up on you, like, you know, you could check up on somebody one day and the next day the guy's gone, right? What do you feel that's important, to get involved in, or whether it be getting involved in something or not, to try to remove yourself from that situation?
What I always try to tell people, because I'll jump into what I do after this. But what I try to tell people when I speak to them and stuff, you try to remove yourself from the situation, to get out of the funk, to try to get out of it. I said you got to start with something, like whether you start and you're feeling like, why am I even doing this? Get up and make your bed. You make the bed, and if that's all you did that day, that's fine. And life's a little easier to deal with when your bed's made, and like if you're walking and you just see something, just like, something's a little messy, just straighten it out. Just do that. And they say, well, what's next? I don't know. Just do the next thing. Just do the next thing. You see it and do it. And you just keep doing these little things. You don't have to do it all at once. My therapist years ago, when I started, he said, don't look at it as like, this big, huge, enormous, like, problem. How do you eat an elephant? I'm like, why would I eat an elephant? That doesn't make any sense. And he goes, don't overanalyze it. How do you eat an elephant, Kenny? I don't know. One bite at a time. Do the first thing, then do the next thing. That's it.
Right.
If it's this big, bring it down to this big. If that's still too big, bring it down here. Bring it down to something you can handle. And if that is all that you can handle, then do that. And then once that is done, then you move on to the next thing. You keep doing that. Then gradually, it'll get easier and easier. Because all the stuff that we deal with, it's only temporary. It's only temporary, okay? Even the sun comes out after a storm. It's fine. All right?
That's solid. That's solid advice, man. I'm happy to hear you talk about something so simple as making your bed, because, I do that the first thing I do is get up, I make my bed, and I can't, believe it or not, man, if I fucking don't make my bed, it will throw my day off. Something is so simple, like people would think, what the fuck, just, you're gonna go sleep in it again at night, like.
Well, you start your day by accomplishing something, and it starts to set the tone. But, if that's what you're used to, that's your routine. And some days you stumble, but that's okay. It's okay to stumble. It's okay to fall, but don't stay there. Don't stay there.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about what you do now, man.
Okay. Well, what I do now is I help run a local nonprofit here in the Savannah area. We're Strike Team for Vets. We are our main focus is suicide prevention through intervention, education, and peer-to-peer therapy. And what I mean by intervention is if someone, it's not necessarily always the veteran, but oftentimes a companion of theirs, their family, or themselves, reaches out to us and say, hey, I'm concerned about this individual. We get, just like a 9-line medevac, we get, the bare minimum, and everything else we'll get on the way out there. The team is dispatched and we're on the way, and somebody, usually me, I'm on the phone and I am there. I am talking to you the entire time. I am coming to you until I am at your home, and I am beating on your door, still talking to you until you open the door, and we will sit there and we will talk about it. We will talk and we will talk and we will talk and we'll talk, or we won't do nothing at all. But once we find out what we need to do to make you safe for today, to ensure that you are no longer a threat to yourself, and that we're going to follow up with you tomorrow and get you the help that you need to get better, that's what we do. We have a lot of, we're plugged in with a lot of other organizations that have access to a lot of resources. We've had some people we've helped go to the Emory Institute up in Atlanta, and they have a very good program up there, and it's helped people there. There's another place that we've spoken with, and they're very helpful. It's out in Texas, and a lot of the resources completely free to veterans. You know, and if you think that you may have a problem like financially not being able to get there or getting the help that you need, don't worry about that. We will find a way. Also, if you just need somebody to talk to, there's another group, Hick Strong, that we work closely with. You get 7 free sessions with a licensed therapist.
Wow.
Like teleconference at your schedule. Like you link up with them, the next day you're gonna have somebody face to face. Like, well, not face to face because, you know, coronavirus, but like, you know, face to screen, you know, talking it out.
Right.
You know? And that's the big thing. Like, you know, I tell people, just say it. Don't hold that stuff in. You know why volcanoes erupt? Because of pressure. Let it go. Okay? Just let it out. Just breathe. Breathe. Dude, if you don't do nothing else, breathe.
That's awesome, man. It's
Yeah.
awesome what you guys are doing. What was the name of your organization again?
Strike Team for Vets.
Strike Team for Vets. Are you guys just local here in
Yeah,
Savannah?
we're local here in Savannah. We have members in Augusta also. There's also members in San Antonio. We are looking for more members everywhere. We have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We've got a good, solid core group of individuals down here. You know, we're doing a lot of good work, and I truly believe in this mission because it's something that needs to be done. You know, like we're not gonna talk about we need to do more to curb the epidemic of veteran suicide. We are doing more to curb the epidemic of veteran suicide. We have put up, we are walking, we are no longer talking. We are about action,
Nice.
okay? You are not alone.
Right on, man.
That's our catchphrase.
No, that's awesome. We're going to wrap it up, man. But before I do, I'd just like to give everyone an opportunity if you have any last words before we cut the tape.
Yeah. Nothing is worth ending it all, at all, ever. It is all temporary in this life. People would much rather listen to your problems for 10 to 15 minutes than cry at your funeral and read your eulogy. Do not do that to them. You are not alone. You are loved. You are cared for. You are not alone.
Thank you for your service, brother.
Thank you for your support, my friend.
Push it to the limit, I can't go no more. Red light, no way, I'm coming back home.